Iran releases the first explosive video showing IRGC forces capturing multiple ships right in the Hormuz Strait. US military faces total embarrassment as Iran boldly captures vessels despite the ongoing American blockade of Iranian ports. IRGC gunboats swarm targeted ships, with elite troops boarding swiftly to seize full control in dramatic Hormuz operations. Mujtaba delivers his fierce reply just hours after Trump extends the truce, yet stubbornly maintains the crippling US blockade. Mujtaba's calculated revenge for America's hijacking of 2 Iran-linked ships leaves Trump scrambling for options. Iran's daring naval move rattles global markets as oil prices surge past $100 amid the chaos of dual blockades choking trade. On April 22, Iran released a video showing its naval forces seizing commercial vessels that it described as linked to Israel, increasing pressure in the Strait of Hormuz. The ships were accused of violating maritime regulations that Iran has imposed around the strait, according to a report by Iran International. The footage was described as the first video of this kind of enforcement operation since the war began on February 28, giving viewers a rare glimpse of Iran's new blockade-style posture. Iran's semi-official Tasnim news agency reported that the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, or IRGC, carried out the operation, underscoring its role in controlling the waterway. Amid the ongoing standoff with the United States, Iran claimed to have seized 2 ships and taken them to its shores, portraying the move as a test of its authority in the region. This marks the first confirmed instance of Iran formally detaining foreign-linked vessels amid its own blockade of the Strait of Hormuz, crossing a threshold in the naval confrontation. The IRGC also issued a strong warning alongside the operation, emphasizing that it will treat any attempt to interfere with its control of the strait as a serious provocation. The IRGC warned that any disruption to order and security in the Strait of Hormuz would cross a red line, indicating that further incidents could trigger a more escalatory response. Reflecting these tensions, Brent crude prices climbed above $100 per barrel for the first time in about 2 weeks, driven by growing concerns over supply disruptions. The rise is being linked to the dual effect of the American blockade on Iranian ports and Iran's parallel efforts to restrict certain shipping through the Strait of Hormuz. Major economies are now drawing down strategic reserves and cutting consumption where possible in an attempt to manage the economic impact of the tightening energy squeeze. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps attacked a 3rd ship on April 22 in the Strait of Hormuz, Iranian media reported, escalating tensions in the strategic waterway. The attacked vessel was identified as the Euphoria, according to News, Fars, and Mehr, which all reported the IRGC strike on the ship. Iranian reports said the Euphoria had become stranded on the Iranian coast, without elaborating on the exact circumstances or damage. The IRGC also separately attacked and seized 2 other vessels, MSC Francesca and the Epaminondas, in the same area. The Guard said that the violating ships Epaminondas and the Israel-linked MSC Francesca had endangered maritime security in the Strait of Hormuz. According to the IRGC, both ships were operating without the necessary permits and had tampered with their navigation systems, which it described as a threat to navigational safety. These incidents came just after Trump, on April 21, extended the truce with Iran but refused to lift the US blockade around Hormuz, keeping naval pressure in place despite the attacks. The first Iranian reaction on April 22 to the US ceasefire extension was sharply critical, with Tehran signaling that it views the move as more tactical than substantive. A senior advisor to the Speaker of Iran's parliament issued an outright dismissal of the US decision, arguing that Washington should not portray the extension as a diplomatic concession. Mahdi Mohammadi, an aide to Iran's lead negotiator in the Pakistan-mediated talks, publicly warned the US that the truce extension would not alter the underlying power dynamics. Mohammadi stated that the extension means nothing and stressed that it does not change the ground situation, where the US blockade on Iranian ports remains in place. Mahdi Mohammadi said, and I quote, "Trump's ceasefire extension means nothing. The losing side cannot dictate terms. The continuation of the siege is no different from bombardment and must be met with a military response. Moreover, Trump's ceasefire extension is certainly a ploy to buy time for a surprise strike. The time for Iran to take the initiative has come." Unquote. Additionally, Iran's ambassador to the United Nations, Amir Said Irvani, revealed Iran's core red line in an interview with the Tasnim news agency. Irvani said Iran is ready to negotiate, but only after the United States ends its naval blockade on Iranian ports, positioning the lifting of the siege as a necessary first step. He described the US blockade as a direct violation of the existing ceasefire agreement, framing it as an act of economic warfare rather than a legitimate enforcement measure. According to Irvine, Iran has already communicated this condition clearly to US officials through diplomatic channels, leaving no ambiguity about Tehran's minimum demand. The Iranian envoy hinted that once the blockade is fully lifted, talks could swiftly resume, possibly in a neutral venue such as Istanbul. Irvine also suggested there are signals that the United States might be considering some easing of the blockade.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that we will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the US will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.